Hello and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, that is correct. Today I am here with Crispy Bomb to break down what I believe to be some of the worst Xbox news since the dreaded Donnie D. I have a console for you. It's called the Xbox 360 back in 2013. Crispy, you were with me when they tried to gouge the consumer by raising Xbox Game Pass. By Xbox Live Gold all those years ago, and the community revolted. I'm hoping that the community revolts today. This price increase that we're here to talk about is absolute madness. And this is coming from somebody that literally, folks, bought a 3-month card this morning. Like the way I do things is top off. Whenever I go below the 36 months and I get to 33 months, I buy a 3-month card to kind of keep that 3 years locked in. So what normally, Crispy, used to cost me, like $33, $36 on some high days, $38 for 3 months, cost me $54.94 at what used to be called cdkeys.com. And so you say, well, 54 versus paying the 60, which is 20, it's only saving $6. Yes, I get that. But I like keeping my thing topped off, so I'm all the way locked in. I got to be honest with you, folks. I just did the pricing with Crispy, and if you are a gamer that does not play or buy more than 5 games a year, Ultimate is not worth it for you, I don't think, because 5 games times $76 is $380. Well, the new pricing, and welcome everybody. I'm sorry, I'm already on a rant here. There is nothing positive about the news today whatsoever. This is a ginormous rake stepping moment. I think it's corporate greed at its finest, and it's disgusting. I am a face of the Xbox community, and you can rest assured that I'm going to be here defending the masses. Now, maybe my voice isn't as big as someone like a Colt Eastwood, who has over 170,000 subscribers, or like Randolph Thor with Jez Corden. But needless to say, I'm going to voice my opinion. And of course, my brother from another is going to say what he has to say. Crispy Bomb, good morning, brother. Or is it a good morning? How you feeling? Welcome.
For the love of the gaming gods, what are you doing, Xbox? What are you doing? $10?
Yeah.
I mean, $10. You're going to increase everything. And I'm sorry, if you're a Fortnite player, maybe you see that as like a big value with what that they added. Ubisoft Classics, like, you got to at least have the whole package there. Okay. And for somebody like me, like, I mean, yeah, I used to play a ton of games.
Yeah.
Five to at least complete is not happening anymore. I have too much to do in life.
Yeah.
I mean, this is crazy. I mean, obviously, Boom, you got a rant. So I mean, at the end of the day, there is no reason for this to be, I mean, that high. I mean, that is just insane to me.
Yeah, I mean, look, I want to kind of just chat. I want you to get heavily involved in this. You are the community, right? You are the consumer like me and Crispy. Are we going to get anybody else? I don't know. Anybody that's worked with me, check your DMs. More than likely, I sent you a link to get you in here to get everyone's thoughts and theories. I will be back tonight with Kay Asante and Hargeet Chani at 7 p.m. Eastern on Primetime Gaming. Obviously, I had a whole other show written. I don't even know if we're going to get to it, to be honest with you. It's probably out the door because we're going to have to be, addressing this. I want to get Kay Asante's take. I want to hear what Hargeet has to say. And I do want to put myself in the front of this immediately. Like I said, as of this morning, I bought a card for $54.94 at cdkeys.com. Someone in the chat literally just said, let me see if I could find it, said that when you put the card in the cart now at CD Keys, which is it's called something else now. I forgot what it's called, but it's the prices have been adjusted. Look, shout out to everyone in the chat that's gonna Chicken Eye 210. He now obviously Chick and I want to thank you for being here, brother. And I also want to throw your thing on the screen here. He said, I've had Game Pass since the beginning. Damn, I may have to say farewell. $30 a month, $29.99. Now, look, what I want to point your attention to, ladies and gentlemen, is this. Okay. We all have streaming services, some more than others. Some have cut the cord on cable, and that's all they have. They have their favorite packages, whether it's Hulu and ESPN and Disney Plus, or it's Paramount, or it's Peacock, or it's Netflix. Whatever your streaming service is, you have it for a particular reason. Usually, it's because the value proposition of this equates to the money that you are being charged per month. So if you are someone that watches Netflix all the time, the $20, you can understand it, right? But to get to that $20 where it is right now, Crispy Bomb, was increments over the years. I mean, it's funny, Mrs. Boom and I were literally just talking about this the other day before all of this madness happened today. And we were saying, I remember paying $7.99 a month for Netflix. And, obviously, well, many, many years later, it's now $20. And look, I understand corporations want to make money, but what I have to say that really soured me today is just what has transpired over the course of the last couple of weeks. And this is where I got to give Xbox smoke. Listen, it's my favorite brand. You guys and gals know that. I'm an Xbox, and that's fine. But today's pricing is not only is effing egregious, it is to a point where if you look at the 3 tiers now available, they have strong-armed you into the $30 tier. And you know what? I'm going to bring up the article that comes the way of Xbox Wire, ladies and gentlemen. And that was let me give you the skinny on the 3 tiers, the restructured Xbox Game Pass 3 tiers. So you have Essential, which gives you 50 games, 50 plus games, and it says now playable on PC, console, and cloud, $10 a month. It gives you unlimited cloud gaming, in-game benefits, including for Riot Games, online console multiplayer, play and earn up to $25 a year in the store with rewards. Okay, $10 a month. Then you have the $5 more, $5 more, right? Which is $14.90, $15 a month. This is called the premium section of Game Pass. This is the middle tier. 200 plus games, now playable on PC, console, and cloud, $15 a month. And this is where it gets very interesting. New Xbox published games within a year of launch. So you're not getting day and date, folks. Unlimited cloud gaming with shorter wait times. Oh, really? Interesting. In-game benefits, including for Riot Games, which I can give a flying shit about because I don't play those games. So that means nothing to me. Online console multiplayer. Play and earn up to $50 a year in the store with rewards. And this is where it gets dicey, folks. They didn't just go up $5 to, let's say, $24.99, which is what they should have done. They went up 50%. They went up from 20 to 30. 400 plus games, playable on PC, console, cloud, $30 a month, folks. This is what you get. 75 plus day one games per year, including all Xbox published games day one. Okay, that's awesome. Now, this would have been a little bit of a different conversation if we would have gotten Ubisoft Plus in here, because I pay for Plus separately, which is 19 and change every month. Now, do I use it every month? No. But I subscribe because something like Black Flag Remake is going to be dropping into the service day and date, right? Okay, fine. All the DLC for it in the service. Any new Ubisoft game in the service, all the DLC, $19 a month. Okay, I can deal with that. But you're not getting that Ubisoft Plus, folks. What you're getting is Ubisoft Plus Classics. And honestly, the classics library is garbage. It's old games that you either own or never going to play. Okay, let's call a spade a spade. And you got EA Play included, which is great. Now, granted, you don't get day and date like you do for the EA PC model, right? That's a different price tier. But you at least, after a couple of months when the game comes out, usually 4 to 6 months, that game gets put into EA Play. And whatever like for instance, the Star Wars game or the Last Dragon Age was dropped in there. Awesome. So if you didn't need to play those games originally and you just waited, there they are for you. It also has the Fortnite Crew coming in November, which I have no idea even what that is. Fortnite Crew, is it some sort of a paid service on Fortnite that you get extra skins? Again, I don't play Fortnite, folks, so it doesn't mean anything to me. Unlimited cloud gaming at our best quality with the shortest wait times. So this is very interesting. This is very tricky. So middle tier gets you, I guess, okay coverage. Like your wait times are slightly longer. I mean, what are we doing here? So you're getting shorter wait times and you're getting the best quality for cloud gaming. I mean, I always thought that cloud gaming was just going to be cloud gaming and it was going to be, okay, boom. I'm playing on cloud and the service is a service. But now you're telling me you're tying Game Pass into the quality of the service? Like, did anyone actually effing read this did somebody that's getting paid probably six figures sit down in a room, read this aloud and be like, this is it, folks. We're going to stagger the service. Do you know what kind of messaging that is? That is as disgusting and distasteful as I've ever heard. So let me continue. In-game benefits. Once again, Riot Games. Who gives a shit? All right, I'll say that. That's the only curse you're going to get from me. Online console multiplayer, and you can play and earn up to $100 a year in the store with rewards. Well, that's great. They also just changed how you can no longer get 3 months cards with these points. I'm not going to get into that because I need to look into it. But Crispy, I've ranted enough. I don't even know if anybody's here. Okay, so it's me and you, brother. And you know what? Brothers in arms, we will be. That to me is utterly ridiculous. So, of course, I am reading directly from the Xbox Wire article, which was, who wrote this article? It doesn't even say, folks. I'm going to be honest with you. It doesn't even say who wrote the article. It simply says Team Xbox. Updates to Xbox Game Pass, introducing essential, premium, and ultimate plans. Look, folks, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a man of many words. Today, I'm at a bit of a loss. I'm at a bit of a loss for words, Crispy Bomb. I don't even know what to say. When you have a $10 tier and then a $15 tier, and then you see that $15 tier erupt by 50% to a $30 tier, not even like in $5 increments. And at some point, you get to 30. Look, I think they're going to lose a ridiculous amount of people. I think they are going to see such decline that this could actually kill Game Pass. And I'm not advocating. I will, folks. I want this to be effing clear as day. I am never, regardless of how much I love a company, a platform, or even Xbox, ever advocate for price increases. And again, I'm paid off for the next 3 years, so I'm good. But that does not excuse this ridiculous behavior. This is corporate greed, folks. I mean, and you know what? I hope and pray someone from Xbox is watching this right now, because I'm being a gentleman about this. You wait for when the trolls come for you and the press come for you. This is the biggest self-inflicted wound that I have seen this generation. And you got to remember, Crispy, this is coming off of raising the prices of your consoles to egregious pricing just a couple of what week ago, and then the $1,000 console. And again, I want a handheld. I want to get the handheld, but all of these price increases, it's a really bad look. Look at the country right now, Crispy. Everything is going up. And I'm telling you this from someone who lives off of a pension. And I know people are going to make fun of me. Someone may even clip this. And if you do, fine, because I'm a real man. I have to provide for my family. Ask anybody in the chat here. We have over 500 people watching live. Let's just kind of time warp. Go back 2 years. If you had $100 in your hand and you went to your local Stop and Shop, you'd probably come away with about 7 or 8 bags. Do you know what $100 gets you now in 2025 with everything that's going on in the world? You'd be lucky to get 3 bags of groceries. And don't add any meat to that. Don't add any beef. Don't add any steak. Don't add any chicken. This is a disastrous move. It is one of the biggest rake-stepping moves that I have seen for Xbox. Literally, since Donnie D came out, stepped on his own D and said, "Hey, if you don't want online all the time, we got a console for you. It's called the Xbox 360." Listen, I don't know, Crispy. I got to let you go, brother. I mean, do your thing. This is just crazy.
Yeah. So and you highlight, let's just increase all these prices, and you do it all within a short period of time, all within this year. Well, it's been probably the most egregious this year. And on top of that, you say, okay, here's stuff that some of you may not want. And we're making this look like, oh, this is the best thing since sliced bread. Literally, their wording in it. It's like, oh, this is so awesome. This is exactly what you've been asking. No, I'm sorry. We weren't. You got to realize that, not all of us are going to play every game that comes out on Game Pass. Now, hypothetically, even if you played 5, you're just hitting what the value is.
Yeah.
So maybe if you play 5 games a year, you're into Fortnite hardcore, which I would be surprised if somebody that plays Fortnite that much plays 5 games a year. So that kind of, supersedes itself, in my opinion. And then on top of that, say, okay, well, you get Ubisoft, but it's only the classic games. We're just going to do that. And it's this value that probably has not a lot of subscribers in that value tier on Ubisoft, because why would they join Xbox? You know what I'm saying? It's just like EA, like, hey, like this is a good little thing to have. Like, yeah, it's great. Okay. But does it justify a $10 increase? And then to top it off, the wording in it is like, oh, this is great. You get great cloud gaming in this one, and you get okay cloud gaming, and then subpar. Like what world are we in? Like I become a member at a Sam's Club. Is that what world we're going to live in? Like all of a sudden you get a fast checkout. This is going to be like going to an amusement park now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you get the fast pass, and then it's like, oh, everybody else got to wait hours. I get to wait 2 minutes. So like you're going to try to use the cloud gaming in certain tiers, and it's going to prioritize. Like, this is getting ridiculous. This is a bad precedent in general for all of streaming services and this and that. I am definitely at minimum lowering my tier. I can't justify in my head paying $30. My fiance is probably going to cancel her subscription because it's just the value isn't there. She doesn't play it as, like she plays less games than me, and I haven't been playing as much as I'd like to in these recent, past few months. And regardless, like maybe next year there's some, like the PC integration, all these other things might justify a value, but we're not next year yet, Xbox. You haven't shown us really, besides some things that I don't want. I mean, I'm sure there's somebody out there that wants some of these things. I don't. Okay. And I'm sure there's plenty of people like me. I don't play Fortnite, and any Ubisoft game I'm interested, either I buy it or wait for a sale or something like that. And it doesn't justify a $10 increase on a service that I've been a part of since the beginning. Okay. And realistically, it's not logical for me financially to be paying 30 freaking dollars a month for something I don't use as often as I did years ago. It's unfortunate because, I feel like the games lineup next year was supposed to be a celebration, and this is just the start of a black eye on a company that can't stop stepping on rakes. And I know you got shareholders and stuff, but you're at a record stock price. I hope it starts going down because it's absolutely ridiculous. This is not logical. And I can confirm the prices on things. I work at a grocery store, people. I could tell you right now. Yeah, like certain things went down, but like red meat, it went up hardcore. Okay? So it doesn't make sense to me. And to do all of these it's like they are trying to sabotage themselves. And this feels like a total 2013 moment. I doubt, because the shareholders clearly have the reins at this point, that they're even going to bother acknowledging, I'm sure, many of us that are considering canceling, lowering tiers, other such things. They're just going to go on and probably raise the price of other things down the road, probably within this year. Like, hey, we're going to have a killer lineup next year. Let's jack it all up and make them pay more. And it's just, it's a sad thing to see. And realistically, like, I might as well, I got a backlog. I got plenty of games to play. I might as well, consider, hey, going down to one of the lower tiers, save that at least $15. I mean, think about that. $15 saving. That's a big deal, man, for a monthly subscription. And just, play what I got and buy a game here and there. I'll just buy the collectors of Gears E-Day. I mean, I don't see the justification anymore. A $15 difference between two tiers just doesn't make sense. And I will stand on that hill. I don't see why they would do it this far. Like, it just $5 one thing, $2 like a Netflix, something like that. You could see it. You could say inflate $10. You can't blame inflation, Xbox. Sorry, you can't blame tariffs on a subscription service. So I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, this is just a bad look in general. And you know what? For once, all these media outlets that love giving smoke to Xbox, I say go for it. Go ham. Do your thing. I don't care how clickbaity it is. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen a company do, to go that high of a difference in price. And it looks like they're totally ready. I'm sure all the gift cards at my store right now are just out of stock, or they changed the price like this morning or something. You know what I mean? It sounds like they were ready to get that extra money. And it's just like, I'm going to go on my Xbox today and just kind of look and just see what I'm going to do, because I really don't know yet. I might just cancel it for a while just to, stick it to them, because I really don't know what else to do. I don't play games like I used to, and I don't play Fortnite. So I don't know what you're giving me. It's just ridiculous.
Well, as you can see, folks, I'm away from the computer. I'm on another screen. I just put a poll. I'm polling it up, folks. And the poll is, let's see. Again, quickly, let me just bring it up. I asked a question: after the 50% increase to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, are you canceling your subscription? Very simple, folks. Yes, it's become way too much. No, it's still the best deal. So we have 75 votes. This is going to be one of the biggest polls I've ever done so far. Wow, look at it, 100 votes so far. 72% said they're going to be canceling. Xbox, I hope you're watching. I hope that you are watching the destruction of the platform that you have built. This you have, like, I'm trying to be a diplomat. But there's no good way to look at this, folks. There just isn't. This is a complete disaster from start to finish. You made mention of something that I think they might have taken advantage of. And if that in fact is the case, then if this thing blows up in their face, it's going to be their own fault. 2026 is only a couple of months away, right? We are already in October 1st. And we got 3 months left of the year. And in 2026, we are expected to have what would be considered one of the biggest and best years of Xbox gaming since its inception. And I say that with a heavy heart, because now when I look forward to next year, I am actually going to be worried of whether or not this is going to go to $40. Let's get your thoughts on that real quick while I handle this, brother.
Yeah, unfortunately, I would say stack up at the 30 if you really love it that much, because the way it's going, the way the consoles are increasing, the way and I'm sure that, hey, if you're a Sony fan, get ready, grab what you can now. I'm telling you, because this is, if they stick with this and they don't come back by the end of today, within 24 hours, and say, you know what, we're only going $5 instead.
Yes,
you're gonna see Sony follow suit with at least they'll be like, oh, okay, we're only gonna do half of what they're doing, kind of make themselves like, hey, we didn't increase that much. Like, this is just such a bad precedent. And I have no doubt that if there isn't an article within the next week or within the next couple days of them losing tons of subscribers, this precedent is going to continue with any subservice you have. So if you have the ability to stack, if you're a PlayStation gamer and you have the ability to stack, I would consider start stacking, because unfortunately, I just said, hey, it's a good price when it, and then it went up a little bit, and I'm like, I just pay it. I don't really pay attention to it. I just play the games when I want, whatever. Now I have to pay attention. Now you've probably made many gamers pay attention to that price much more now and say, I can't really see that. I mean, 2 months and, I play one game for 2 months. That's basically the price I pay for the game now. So I'm looking at it and saying, hey, and here's the funny thing. Oh, we dropped the price of Outer Worlds too, but here you go, right up yours, buddy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is just, I have never seen a company in the past 3 months just say, you know what? You guys have been super loyal Xbox gamers. You really enjoyed Game Pass. Up yours.
Yes.
Just unbelievable. And I don't know who in their right mind came up with this brilliant idea. Can you hear my sarcasm? Unbelievable to go a $10 increase. I can't believe it. And like I said, I think I'm just going to cancel it for a while and consider what I'm going to do next. Because at the end of the day, I could still buy the games. Like everybody says, you could still buy the games. We could still buy the games. Maybe we'll be buying more games now, Boom. I don't know.
Well, folks, again, apologies for the UPS ringing the bell. I mean, I don't have a studio, and I certainly don't have anybody working for me, so I got to handle the business. Like, you know what that always reminds me of? Remember when Greg Miller was still kind of funny, was still small, and the UPS guy would always ring to drop off packages. He'd have to leave the podcast. That's why I will always love Greg Miller, gentleman of a man, and I love where he came from to where he is now. It's just a great story. But you know what's not a great story? What did I say to open up today's podcast, ladies and gentlemen? This morning, before I went into the gym, which, by the way, I was at my last set of exercises. I saw the news and I got the F out of Dodge to be here live. I haven't even taken a fucking shower yet. Like, I'm literally just came in from the gym and I'm like, I got to go live. I got to get with the people. So what did I say this morning when I first came in? I paid $54.94 for a 3-month Xbox Game Pass Ultimate card. That's what I paid this morning. Do you know what it is right now, ladies and gentlemen? $67.99. 2 hours later. $67.99. And granted, that's actually a freaking good deal because it's $90 for a 3-month card. It's going to be when you, oh my God, I can't believe I'm even saying this. When you go into your Best Buy or your Toys R Us or your Walmart, the 3-month Xbox Game Pass Ultimate card is going to say $90. Listen, folks, there is no defending this. And I kind of want to just keep with my point before I was unfortunately interrupted. In 2026 was supposed to be, and it still may be, right? We don't know. One of the best, most important years in Xbox game history. Why? Why do I say that? Well, we know that the Trinity, the pillars, the 3 pillars that actually were the foundation for what makes Xbox, are all getting new games. You're getting a new Forza confirmed in Japan. Let's effing go. You're getting Gears of War E-Day. Yes. You're getting a new Halo. As a matter of fact, on the 24th of this month, thanks to Rebs Gaming, please go follow that man and watch his videos. He's really good. We're getting a double dose, potentially, of new Halo news. Halo Studio is going to show us what they've been cooking. So you're getting 3 games at least already. You're celebrating Halo Combat Evolved and Master Chief. You're also celebrating the 25th anniversary of the actual platform. The 20th anniversary of Gears. I think, folks, I'm not sure. It's an anniversary for Crash Bandicoot as well. There's a bunch of like big anniversaries happening next year. We were supposed to be Party Town USA, be an Xbox player, and then they go and they pull this. And like I said, it's just patterns, folks. Like, look, there is no bright side to this whatsoever. And I'm sorry if I'm being like a bit of a downer here, but I got to call a spade. And I would be a corporate fraud if I tried to defend this in any way, shape, or form. Like, this is stupid. This is arrogant. This is beyond aggressive business tactics. And I don't know if anyone from Xbox is watching, but if you are watching Xbox, you should be ashamed of yourself. Like, honestly, whoever sat down and said, yeah, the world has gone to shit in the last couple of years. Let's add some more layers to it. And obviously, look, I say this all the time, folks, and I say this from a pensioner. Like, I have a great pension. I do. I work super, super long, ridiculous hours of overtime to make sure that my pension, what it was, and it wasn't even what I wanted it to be because I wound up getting hurt. So I wound up putting my best 3 years in, and they average it out. And it's really good. But like I always say, and people make fun of me. Oh, it's fine. It has a pension. I mean, it has a pension. It has a ceiling. My pension has a ceiling. And when you see things like this, it's so disheartening because as effed up as the world is right now, and it doesn't matter whether you're, where you come from, what color your skin, orientation, or what religion, the world sucks for pretty much everybody. And the truth of the matter is that entertainment allows for us to get away. And usually that entertainment is something like an Xbox Game Pass, a streaming service that has, like, for instance, Viki. I don't know if you don't even know what I'm talking about. It's all Asian content that me and Josie watch every day. We watch our K-dramas, we watch our J-dramas, our J-horror. We love it all. And we pay, I think, what is it, $12 a month. And it's phenomenal. We use it literally every day. Xbox Game Pass was one of those deals for years that not only were you getting day-and-day games from first party, but you were getting some really, really top quality third-party deals in there. You were getting additions of indie and second party. And I've seen a lot of people, and I don't want to call anybody out because I don't want to embarrass anybody, just in case you don't really want people to know, like, oh, yeah, I'm going to have to cancel. So I'm not going to do that. But I've seen a lot of people in the chat be like, yeah, but no, boom, this service has now become unaffordable. $360 a year. And I get it. Xbox is putting out a lot of first party content. But you know something? And this is going to sound like maybe a D thing to say, but I think we're kind of owed that. Like, if you're an Xbox guy still, it's a guy or gal still, you stayed through some of the worst droughts in first party history. And now they're finally, they buy a couple of publishers like Bethesda. They go and buy Activision. And you know what? I got to tell you, I had a lot of private conversations with people saying, I was one of the rah guys for Activision. And I look back now and I'm thinking to myself, damn, I kind of wish maybe it didn't go through. Not because of, Call of Duty is in the service and we're going to miss it, whatever. I bought Call of Duty every year anyway. But the minute that the Xbox borrowed $70 billion from Papa Microsoft, you knew the money people were going to get in. And I look back and I rah the hell out of it. Yeah, Xbox, we're going to get all. You know what's? Can I add some? And again, apologies, folks, if I'm all over the place, because obviously this is an impromptu show. You know what's crazy to me? Here's another thorn in this in the situation. What are we still waiting for, Crispy Bomb? We are waiting for all of the Activision catalog to be added to Xbox Game Pass, like all of their Call of Duties. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Black Ops 6, but I spent some bucks in there. I bought the $30 upgrade, which is just free money for them. It's just a digital upgrade. They're not doing anything to it, and everyone is going to buy the Vault Edition, because you can get the $100 edition for $30, and it's not even 30; it's 27 and change after the 10% discount, which I don't even know if it's a thing anymore, to be honest with you. But we're still waiting for the Transformer games, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, the Wolverine, the Spider-Man games, the Transformers, the Guitar Heroes. And I mean, folks, I went out and bought an Xbox 360e, which I didn't even know existed. I'm going to be honest with you, because I have the Star Wars 360 in storage, and I don't really want to use it because it's a freaking collector's item. But I want to play Guitar Hero. I've been dying to play Guitar Hero. So I went out and bought an Xbox 360e, which looks like the Xbox One, except it's an Xbox 360. Folks, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a bot, and I didn't even know that existed. I'm like, you know what? It's a refurb. It's literally brand new everything, controller and everything. It's $170. All right, I'm going to hook it up so I can play Guitar Hero. Because you know what's not in Xbox Game Pass Ultimate? All of the Activision shit that we've been waiting for. Now, if they go and they add a presser to this, say, hey, everybody, Guitar Hero, we got all your songs, they're back. Maybe you can swallow a $30 price tag, but that Fortnite edition, I got to be honest with you, this is probably the most negative I have ever been in the 8 years of doing YouTube, but it's justified times 1,000. I want to get your thoughts on that, Crispy, because again, didn't we hear, well, our goal is to get all of the Activision content into Xbox Game Pass? Isn't that what they said after the deal went through? We're still fucking waiting.
Yeah, we are. And that'll probably be another tier, Boom. The fuck,
I mean, you never know.
Dude, this is getting absolutely ridiculous. I thought about it and I was like, from what Game Pass, I mean, we had probably a good 2-year stretch where Game Pass and Logic did not really deliver what we were paying. And,
100%.
And then you look at it now and you say, wow, it's delivering. I would almost say over delivering. And that's where I would say, okay, you went to, maybe you just did the $5. I mean, there'd be still people like myself at $25 being like, I don't know, man. You know what I mean? But, it wouldn't be me going, yeah, I got to change something. You know what I mean? I'm going to either go down or I'm going to cancel. Like, that should say a lot out of somebody that, since basically the inception. I've been there. And I think there's a lot of people like myself. Like, you go and say, I'm on Series X. I already have one. But what about those people that don't?
Hey,
So
thank you. Yes. Great point.
where's the selling point now? Like, yes, you have a lot of games. Okay. Even like Forza, when it comes out, Forza Horizon 6, you're going to be like, well, eventually it's going to come to PlayStation. So what are you trying to sell at this point? Because if you're going to get a really expensive console, because that's especially the Series X feels like, hey, that's a price and compared to what it was. And then on top of that, go, okay, well, and for a $30 sub service, if I want all the bells and whistles that everybody had before at $10 cheaper, it doesn't make sense. Like, it's like, why are you even like bothering at this point? And I feel like, maybe they're just like, we need to get every ounce of profit out of this. And I don't know how there is a point in time where you say, if you don't get no sales, you ain't getting no profit. So now this could be a tipping point. And I'm going to be honest, if this shows to be the failure that I think it's going to be, whoever's decision this was, because I don't believe it's Phil's. I don't care. I do not believe that this is something that Phil would advocate for. And he probably sat there red-faced and said, this is not how we get more gamers to play our games. So I am sure he probably was like, I don't like this, but somebody else that probably had the power said, we're doing it, or the board voted on it or something like that. Because now Xbox, like Boom said, we covered Amazon or Activision. We covered that for how long? We mostly advocated for it, thought it was going to be a good thing. And now as he does, I do, I look back and I say, we should have at least, been meh about it, because the way it's going now, it's like, it just shows the greed that's involved. And it really comes down to the percentage of revenue that Xbox makes them now. And now all the people that are shareholders or board members or whatever have a say in what's going on. And I say, whoever is the idiot, in my opinion, that sat there and said, let's raise Ultimate $10, should lose their job, because that is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And like I said, you got to vote with your wallet. At the least, if you don't play 5 games a year, you should be considering not being a part of at least the Ultimate tier at this point.
I have a story in front of me, and folks, I'm going to get to your super chats. I promise. There's been so many of them, so many gifted subs, and I of course I want to make sure that I read them aloud. And if there are questions tied to it, I promise I will answer. Even if Chrissy's got to go, I will promise I'll read them live on the air. I have a story in front of me. This is one of those moments you feel like I got kicked in the balls, right? That's how I'm feeling about right now. So Sarah Bond, who I have had the pleasure of speaking to privately and meeting, is not only one of the most intelligent, bombastic women I've ever met when it comes to business. She is friendly and welcoming. She's also the president of Xbox, and a well-deserved position for her. I actually think at some point, and I've said this before, even years ago, before meeting her, and knowing where she came from and how tenacious she is in business, that she is going to ultimately succeed Phil Spencer. That's my thought and theory. And it's not because of anything less than she deserves it. She is an intelligent woman that has a background that is a stacked deck. I think that she will ultimately succeed Phil. Well, this was a story that was posted only but 2 hours ago, and it's by GamesRadar.com. It was written by Scott McCrae. And this is the kick in the balls moment, ladies and gentlemen. And this is another horrible look for Xbox based on what happened today. Xbox, I'm going to read verbatim, folks. Xbox president Sarah Bond says Game Pass is profitable and good for creators despite alleged division over the subscription model. Now, the division they're talking about, I don't think is internal. I think that's just the industry fighting back against it. Well, here's an interesting number. I'm no mathematician, folks, but I understand basic math. And if you spend $1 billion a year on a service like Xbox Game Pass, bringing content to that service, and you make $5 billion in total, that's $4 billion in profit. Well, that's what she said in this interview. The service apparently made over $5 billion in the last fiscal year. They invest $1 billion. So my question is, how much more effing money do you want to suck from the people that are keeping this service afloat? Like, again, I cannot wrap my freaking head around a 50% increase. You have a tier of $10. You have a tier of $15. If you go and you raise the price from currently 20 to 25, that is still very reasonable, in my opinion, what you're getting. By raising it a full $10, Xbox has ultimately priced out a lot of people because, look, if you are there are going to be people in the chat right now. They're going to say, well, boom, all I pay is for $30 a year and I'm good. And you know something? If that's your form of entertainment and that's all that you have, that's freaking awesome. So the $10 may not hurt you in the pocketbook that much. But let's just say you're someone like me who has, I want to say, Mrs. Boom and I probably pay for about 15 services a month. When you consider everything that we pay for, Xbox Game Pass, you have, I pay for PlayStation, I pay for Nintendo, my wife pays for Nintendo, you got Hulu, you got Viki, you got Netflix, you got Peacock, all these services we pay for because we don't really go out. We like staying home. We're safe. The world kind of is wild right now. You could be sitting on a corner and get mowed down or shot. I ain't about that life. So you know what? We just enjoy each other's company. We order from our favorite restaurant a couple of times a week, and and we just stay home. But if you're someone who has multiple services, Crispy Bomb, like that $30 is now going to hurt, especially when you consider the cheaper one. The $10 one is a joke. Let's just call a spade, folks. Anyone that is going to just simply play online with their friends is probably playing the $10 one. And it is what it is. You're not getting much for your money there. You're just not. The middle tier, right? And let me pull it up. Hold on. It's just you're gonna get the new games at some point in the year. I mean, there's no date. Like, is it 3 months? Is it 6 months? Is it 9 months? Is it a year? A year to the day? Is it 364 days since game A released? Now you can play it at $15 a month. And I can play online. Wonderful. And then, of course, this is, again, they painted gamers into a corner. And I really do think, in my opinion, they took advantage of people's loyalty to the Xbox brand and they shat all over it. That is my opinion on it. I got to be honest with you. I'm not canceling because I'm paid. I'm literally, folks, I'm not even bullshitting you. I am literally paid up until 36 months from now. But at that point, what is Game Pass going to be? $70 a month? I mean, how do we know that it's going to start and stop with 30? See, that's my concern. And I got to be honest with you. I haven't been on the socials because I was in the gym. So I didn't read what Phil Spencer or Sarah Bond or Matt Booty or anybody from the social team has to say. But I don't know what they could say. It's a concerning trend. Everything on Xbox has gone up in the last couple of weeks to the point of people are going to be asking, why have an Xbox? I'm just going to go to PC. And I'm not speaking for myself. I'm going to always have an Xbox because I'm a console guy. But you got to ask yourself, man, Crispy, when does this end? Because again, $30 came out of nowhere. Boom. This is another raise. Who's to say next year when they have Halo, Forza, Gears, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 4, you get Fable, you get a few others, and they say, well, this is going to be a celebratory year. Let's raise it to $40. Yeah, you know what? I want to bring in a guest here who just happened to show up. Hey, what's going on, Korkenstein? How are you feeling, kind sir? Probably not as good as any of us with this ridiculousness, but I'll get to you in a hot second, Cork. But
Yeah, no problem,
Crispy,
brother.
is I mean, is that ultimately a concern for the masses? Because again, they sideswiped the community with this, and they didn't even say, "Hey, listen, we're going to hold off and wait until 2026." No, this is immediate, folks. So if you're joining Xbox Game Pass, welcome and good luck with that, because the prices now are, I think, out of reach for a lot of people, especially in where we are in the world. Any additional thoughts, Chris, before we bring in Cork and get his rants? Because I know we're going to get one.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't know how anybody really is going to, like I said, if you have certain instances where you're like, hey, I like Fortnite that much, or hey, I really love that Ubisoft catalog that's older. I love that. And you didn't already buy the games, by the way, like, because
Right.
generally that's what's transpired. So you look at that, maybe that's the huge value. To have this happen, do not underestimate corporate greed, and keep that in mind going into next year. And if you really love this service, you may want to do what Boom has done, even if you're doing it after this increase, and stack it. But I'm gonna be honest with you, like I said, I have enough in my backlog where I at least am gonna drop down to that $15 tier, and it's probably gonna be right after the show. So I can't, and I might consider just getting rid of it, but I think I'm just gonna go and say, hey, let's go down to the 15, call it a day. But if they go up to 40 next year, which is quite possible, I mean,
Yeah.
you might as well just kill off Game Pass, because that's what they're trying to do. I feel like they're trying to do it right now. They're trying to kill off Game Pass Ultimate. I mean, it just feels like that. It's unfortunate, because I think it really would gain more subscribers, and clearly they're making a profit. So why not gain more subscribers and keep the price at 20, or even go to 25? But no, they're like, nope, here's 30. Think about $30 every month coming out of your bank account. I don't know, man. And don't get me wrong, I don't even think I pay that. I don't pay that for Prime, which I think has way more value.
Yeah.
Think about it, like all the stuff you get delivered and everything else, like the shipping fees. Like I mean, the justification of this is just, it doesn't make sense to me. And I feel like, they just, some money hat was like, yeah, just deal with it. Deal with it, Xbox gamers. Oh, you want a new console? You're gonna have to pay $50 a month for all this stuff. You know what I mean? No, actually more than that probably now. So I mean, it's just crazy.
It's just a really bad look. Real quick, shout out to Clobriel, Crispy and Cork. He actually just put out a tweet. Actually, this is an hour ago. Again, folks, I'm all over the place. The Fortnite crew thing that has now been added to Ultimate is normally $11.99, $12 a month value. And included in this, you get Fortnite Battle Pass, 1,000 V-Bucks each month. But you know what? That means nothing to me, because I don't play Fortnite. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I think that if you are a Fortnite player, you probably don't already have Game Pass, because you're playing for free. You probably have a PS4 or an Xbox, One, or maybe you have a PS5. You got it on sale when it was $389. You yourself a PS5, and now you're playing Warzone, Apex Legends, and Fortnite, and you spend on their service to play games online. That's about all you're spending. This addition means nothing to me. Again, I think one of the jarring question marks, Cork, and I don't know if you got a chance to hear, is where are all these Activision games? Where are all the Guitar Heroes? Because if you're charging $30 a month for this service, you got extra money now for these fees. At least make the discs backward compatible, which I have. You don't want to sell them because you don't want to pay licensing. I don't know how that works, folks. I'm not in the business like that, but I have the discs. Where are all the games? Where are all the Call of Duties? At least nothing. So, Cork, let's get your hot take. And I listen again. Say what you want to say here, man, because I know Xbox is listening, and like I said, Crispy and I have been gentlemen on this subject. I could only imagine what the trolls are going to do over the next course of the week, because I'm coming back tonight at 7 with Kay and Hargeet, and I'm going to let them go crazy. I'm just going to sit back with the popcorn and watch, because there is no defending this. This is egregious. This is it's again, I said it in the beginning of the show, folks. I think it's probably one of the worst Xbox rake steps I have seen since Donnie D told people, hey, if you don't want to play online, I got a console for you. It's called the Xbox 360. Cork, let's get your thoughts, brother.
Yeah, so this, for me, I still see value in Game Pass Ultimate, honestly, because I play 30, 40 games a year. But I think there's a little bit of blindsiding the community like this. I think is a bad idea. I think that's why majority of people they're not seeing the benefit of what this can actually offer right now. They just say 75 plus games. Well, what games? The Ubisoft Classics and EA Play. And I mean, the Fortnite crew, I think, is genius. That's actually a good move, because while you may not be a Fortnite player, how many people are? And how many kids, mom, I could get this for, you're already paying $10, $20 a month for me. If you add in $10, which you already pay for every battle pass, I can get all this extra stuff, that kind of mentality, when you start thinking of it like that. I think where they dropped the ball is the messaging and how they just blindsided the community with this. Usually Xbox is a little smarter with it. Usually we see something like this before, like an E3 or something where, they know it's going to garner a little bit. There's no way they couldn't not have seen the reaction to this. Like I said, this is going to give choice for people who want, like Crispy just said, I'm going to drop down to the 15 tier because guess what? That suits him better. Some people may be like, well, you know what? I really, I really don't do a lot of that much gaming. Maybe I'll just do the 50 plus games. I'll get them. This is a secondary console for me, or a tritary console. I'll just play where I can, kind of deal. In that sense, giving the consumer choice on this, on where they want, there's something of value, and it's going to vary by consumer. For me, I see value in the Ultimate still because of how much I pay or how much I play games and how much invested I am into the Xbox ecosystem with all of my games and stuff like that. Ubisoft Plus, I'm a huge Ubisoft gamer as well, so that's like kind of a guilty pleasure for me. So I don't mind that, so for me, that's a benefit. I play Fortnite, so the Fortnite crew, that's a benefit for me. I play on cloud gaming, and now I'm going to get the best possible version of it. That's a benefit for me. So, like I said, I know some people will be like, oh, he's just capping for Xbox. No, I genuinely do see value in the Ultimate service because of my style of play. And how much how much I play, how much I'm invested into the ecosystem. So it makes sense for me, but it's not going to make sense for everyone. This is probably that tier is probably for like the most hardcore of hardcore gamers, that game all the time, that are very invested in the Xbox ecosystem. For most of us here, probably that $15 tier is absolutely perfect for you. If you want games day one, let me look at the chart real quick here. Just to see real quick, all Xbox. So new published, it doesn't say actually for the $15 ones, which does make me a little worried. Doesn't
say the way
get,
it's going to work is you'll get new games within the year.
Yeah, it says Xbox published games, but not first party games. So that's where I'm a little confused on. What about these first party games? I mean, of course, if they're going to be Xbox Game Studios, then yeah, that's probably a published title, but not every game is an Xbox published title. They're actually first party titles kind of thing, So I don't know. So are we gonna have to wait a year now for that $15 tier?
Well, again,
Um,
they didn't get, even in the article, they didn't get into specifics. You know, real quick,
yeah.
I did a poll. Basically the poll says, at the 50% increase to Game Pass Ultimate, are you canceling your subscription? So there's been over 400 votes, 433 to be exact. 74% says yes, it's become way too much. 26% says no, it's still the best deal. And again, you know, I'm gonna end the poll, folks. Maybe look, I'm not being an alarmist. I'm not being an apologist either. Again, the service made $5 billion last year. They invest $1 billion. That is a $4 billion profit. Okay. I don't know how much more they needed to go. I am going to say, and I'm gonna stay on this stone, folks. I'm not changing my stance, and we're gonna let we'll let Corkenstein get his his remainder of his hot take. If you just look at the tiers, $10, $15, you would imagine you want to go up $5 from its original price of $20, $19.99, $24.99. It's reasonable. It's still a lot considering some of the price increases we've seen of the bigs. You know, the Netflix, the Hulus, Disney Plus. They go up $2 increments, $3 increments. They don't blindside you with a $10 increase by 50%. And I know that it's been at the price it's been for a long time. I just think that this is one of those moments in time where Xbox was coming up on a year. I think 2025 is one of their best years for first party. I think it's one of the best years for consumerism up until today's announcement. I think it's one of the best years in bringing in third party, second party, and indies to their service. I think they have also done amazing at every showcase they've been at. And we still have the Game Awards around the corner, so there could be something big there. They have a pair of handhelds coming out in a couple of weeks. You have the celebratory 2026, which is going to be a party from January to December of that year, celebrating everything Xbox. This is just not really great messaging. And I don't know what else to say, but please, Cork, continue, sir.
No, and you're right. That's what I called out originally at the very beginning too. How they went about this was not great. They're not really showcasing the actual benefits people will see at. I mean, they're showing it just but like what 75 games, like I said, when are these, Ubisoft Plus titles coming? That kind of stuff. And I even said, like, with the secondary tier, they don't even get into they say, within 1 year of launch for published, but what about first party developed? They're kind of vague on that. So this is where I think they really dropped the ball, was the messaging here. I'm taking myself out of it on and trying to see the bigger picture of why versus of just me kind of deal. So usually that's how I take most of my stances. I take myself out of the kind of emotional investment and just see a broader picture as much as I can first. It's all about perspective. And so I want to kind of take a look at this and see why and what they're doing and the reasoning behind it. So yeah, it's not great. Yeah, even Will the Broke Boy Lewis, he said, when has Xbox ever been good at messaging? They've dropped the ball consistently in that department.
Yeah.
You'd think, they did actually for a while with Game Pass and how they went and launched that. That was really great. But then, they've had a couple of ball drops here and there with that. So I think this is where a lot of people are not seeing the actual benefit that this might have for them. But again, it's your money. You can spend it where you want. You can spend it how you want. So like I said, Crispy Bomb, he wants that middle tier because that fits his style, and that's good. They could just, which would have been a horrible move. I'm not saying this is what they should do, but I mean, they could have just been like, yeah, we're not really seeing a lot of benefit from that, first original tier, so we're just going to go to, $20 and $30, and cut that part out. But like I said, if there could be people that have Xbox as a secondary or tri-tier console, and they're not really that invested in the ecosystem, so they're going to pick that because they still get games, they can still play when they want, that kind of thing. I kind of have it for my PlayStation, where I have the lowest tier possible for PlayStation Plus, because I'm not that invested in it.
Yeah, I can't. I shut off my subscription, or the consistent charge my card. I don't use it enough.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, you know what? Real quick, here's some context, folks. If you think that people aren't going to step out in droves and cancel, well, Wario64, who is somebody who he's well known. If you don't know who Wario64 is, maybe you're not part of social media. The page to cancel your Xbox Game Pass subscription is down. That is how pounded it's being right now. And you know what's even more interesting? I went to sign in because I was gonna, check something. Xbox Live is down right now. Like I went to Xbox.com. I couldn't even sign this. The page you wanted is not there. So they're getting slammed. They're going to lose millions upon millions. And I'll say this, folks. If the $30 tier is not for you, you should cancel your subscription. I'm going to tell you that right now. Like I said, I can only speak for myself. I'm paid up for the next 36 months. And I told you about when I opened up today's show that I paid $54.94 at cdkeys.com. That subscription now, Cork, is $67.99. That same 3-month card is $67.99. And granted, it's actually not a bad deal. At the $90, it's going to cost $89.99 for a 3-month card. I mean, listen, folks, you got to vote with your wallets. If you guys and gals remember, Crispy Bomb and I don't remember who else was with me, we had the torches and the pitchforks when they tried to double up Xbox Live Gold, and they wind up backing off 24 hours later. I don't know if that's what's going to happen here. Corporate greed is deep and it's thick. And I don't know if all of us going out and screaming our heads off. And like I said, I don't think I was emotional today, folks. I think I was pretty fair. But I'm a consumer. Yes, Xbox recognizes the channel, and I appreciate that. They fly me out to things. I get a chance to preview games. I'm a part of their review crew, if you will, and I'm always going to be grateful for that. But I will not stand behind this. I am a people's guy. I come out here 5 days a week, sometimes more than that, to represent you. And I was going to say what I had to say. And again, I think I did it politically correct. And I just think that this is just corporate greed. Ultimately, I know Cork has a different thought on theory on it, and that's his opinion, folks. Don't get on the guy. He finds that it's value for him. I found is it ultimately value for me? Well, I play everything. So I'm gonna play all 12 games that are gonna come out this year at some point or another. Some more than others. Some I'm gonna try and I'm like Grounded 2, just not for me. But am I gonna play Ninja Gaiden 4? Black Ops 7, Double Fine's next game. Yeah, I'm going to play all of those. Am I going to play The Outer Worlds? Hell yeah, I'm going to play. I'm going to probably put 90 hours, 100 hours into that game. But I just, the optics of this whole thing, Cork, is just wrong. Considering, and again, we just 100%. have to look at the world that we're currently living in. It's just once again bad optics. And I gotta tell you, I don't know who is making these decisions, but they are getting a lot of money to F these things up, and they consistently step on these rakes. I don't get it, brother.
It's Satya. I mean, we all know. I mean, we know it's Satya. It's not Phil. It's not Sarah. It's not them. This is coming up from their boss, in a sense. And I think, I do agree. Yes, the optics are pretty bad. I do agree that there's probably a little bit of corporate greed behind it, for sure. I'm not denying that part. I'm just saying for me, I still see value in the Game Pass Ultimate tier because of how I play. You know, and that might not be for you. That's fine. Totally. There's a $15 tier, and then there's the lesser tiers if you guys want to still stay in the Xbox ecosystem, but maybe you're like, yeah, maybe it's not worth it. You know, it's completely, I don't want to be the one to tell people you're wrong, you know, for wanting to spend your money how you want to spend it. It's your wallet. It's your pay. If you got the disposable income, do what you will with it. You should vote with your wallet 100%. I've kept that stance 100% of the time, but I'm just taking a look at it from an outside perspective, on how, you know, or why this is coming about. It definitely is Microsoft, I think, kind of putting a little bit heavier hand on Xbox. They're going to have, you know, a pretty massive year next year. So I could definitely see them trying to get ahead of the game before they launch a new console, before they get all the staples back in and stuff like that. And who knows, maybe they might go back to it. This is definitely this is a different company than it was back then, though, you know, with Major Nelson and everybody. So who knows, you know, maybe, you know, Microsoft is just like, no, this is what we're going to keep it at. You never know, but they could drop it down to $25. Just depends on, I guess, how much people really do vote with their wallet. You're in control as a consumer. People forget that you're allowed to spend your money how you want and where you want. You know, Microsoft and Xbox aren't holding a gun to your head saying, you know, you need to buy this and pay this tier. You know, they're not doing that. It's your money and spend it how you want. See the value in what you want to buy for Game Pass. There's also other ways to save. There's Aniba, there's CD keys. Be safe though with those. Make sure that they're actually vetted to get keys. Things like that, because you can get your account sadly banned if you use shady sites. You know, if you see something that's charging only $120, you know, for 2 years of Game Pass, it's probably something shady. So, you know, just be careful with that. But yeah, you are a consumer, and you can spend your money how you want to spend it. If you feel this is a bad, cancel. You know, they may have the site down though, just looking at it, because of this change and stuff. They don't want people switching around their accounts right now, and then it gums up what tier they're on and what tier they're not on, things like that. So who knows, they could be doing it for different reasons. I always like to see glass half full, you know, and see the better in something than the worse. But I mean, that's just me. That's why I'm coming at this with kind of a sense of positivity. You know, I see people, bootlicker, I don't give two shits.
No. I mean,
you
listen,
know,
folks, let's be. Come on,
yeah.
He's entitled to his opinion, folks. Listen, Cork. I'm gonna be honest with you, brother. I love you, and you're welcome here, and your opinion matters. I disagree. I know that from your point of view, it's valuable, and I'm not saying the entire thing. Just throw it out with the baby with the bathwater. I'm just saying that in the world that we are currently living in, optics could ruin a business. And the unfortunate thing for Xbox is they're in third place. And what I think why this stings considerably for a lot of people, the common folk, like everybody here in the chat, is they have announced record profits. In Microsoft, they have announced record profits. In Xbox, yeah, their console sales are down, sure, but their record profits everywhere else, including Xbox Game Pass, which they raised by $10. And to be honest with you, the other two tiers are really not that great. They give you online play. They give you Ubisoft Plus. They give you cloud gaming. And the worst part about the cloud gaming thing is you only get the fastest service if you're paying the $30.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's freaking crazy. So you're saying that if I can only afford the $10, which gets me in the door to at least play with my friends, I'm getting the slower service, right? And I'm getting the wait times are going to be longer until I move up to the $15 one. That gets me a little bit closer to the to the front line where the velvet rope is, and a little faster speed. But then I have to double that up to pay $30 to get past the velvet rope. Like, wow, that is, again, it's one of those things, man.
It works for GeForce.
Yeah,
Works for
but
GeForce Now.
but
That's kind of
GeForce
the
now
model
you're
that
getting.
they're.
I think it's totally different.
And you don't even get the games on GeForce Now. That's just the system just to buy into cloud gaming.
I mean, look,
So it depends, you know.
yeah,
I think the first tier is worthless. I don't think anybody should be subscribed to that tier. I don't think it really has the value that it should. To be honest, I think cloud gaming should be. You are right in the sense that I think you should have
it should be
the
1440p across the board.
across the board. At least get people in the door that way with the bare minimum of cloud gaming. It doesn't have to be the most, you know, you don't have to have a console, especially when you're talking about Amazon having Fire Sticks now and you being able to play cloud gaming on that. You know, you should at least be able to have the best experience. I agree with you that, but it just seems like they're copying GeForce. You know, and GeForce is the king right now when it comes to cloud gaming. So I you know, I can see why they're doing it. I don't agree with it. I think cloud gaming should be bare minimum at the very beginning, and it should be the best tier possible throughout the whole board, especially, you know, if you are trying to make your platform everywhere, then yeah, cloud gaming should be a basic add-on at its best level. You know, especially when your marketing campaign is this is an Xbox. You know, why it just doesn't make any that to me doesn't make any sense. You are right there, but I can see why they're doing it. They're trying to copy GeForce, which I think is stupid.
Yeah, I just, again, when you're not the king, you can't do what the king is doing. They're in third place. You know, again, yes, are they dominating in first party games? They absolutely are. They are. I mean, again, if you just look at what Sony has put out, it's 5-1, right? Maybe more so than that. You know, they you know, they have MLB The Show, they have Ghost of Yotai, and of course they have the Kojima game, which isn't first party, but it is exclusive, right? So that's their three bigs for the year. And you look at Xbox, they put out a dozen of them. So you are getting, at least I thought, at your $20 a month, you're worth them its price in its weight in gold, I suppose. But
yeah, I see a lot of people dropping down a tier. Probably like most people don't really qualify for the Game Pass Ultimate. Like I'm definitely one of I know I'm in that rare category right there for that. You know, for me, but like I said, I find value in it. You know, I think it is expensive for sure, but for me, how I play, I still see that tier being the one I would rather have over the other one because of how I play.
I mean, you're going to play the new games, which is the whole point of it. But again, the second tier, which is literally $15 less,
and that's where they messed up. Yeah. Like it needs to. They need to be very clear on. Yes, they talk about published games, but what about first party developed? The fact that they're being real quiet about that's a little concerning for me right there. Because you know, you would think if you're paying $15, you would have at least the day one games. But I mean, granted, you know, with games being $70, $80 now, who knows? You know, that's kind of the thing. And that's another thing here that this is something you can't really blame tariffs on because these are all digital goods.
This is ultimately this is.
I know some people will though because they'll you know this is the economy, so that's why this kind of doesn't really make a lot of sense on why they're transforming. Again, the messaging here is off. And that's definitely something that they should have worked on. They should have had something where it showed more value to the people that are already on Game Pass Ultimate. You talk about these 70 plus games and you know, well, what am I getting today then for this price increase? What am I going to get today right now that I can use? And so that's where I think they messed up a lot on here is the messaging and the value. They didn't really show the value of why you should still stay on Game Pass Ultimate. I guess I know why they did it. You know, why they're making these moves. I just don't get why they didn't present it in a better fashion.
Well, I mean, that's unfortunately that's their Achilles heel. If there's anything that you look back at Xbox and say, my God, it's just been terrible for years and years and years. Their messaging has always been off. And you would think that with all the money that they have, they would hire somebody and put somebody that's actually, you know, holding the pulse of the community. You know, that's the person that you want. And look, I'm not gonna say that I'm gonna take a job from them, but I'm saying I've been advocating for them to give me a call. Let me represent the people. You know, put somebody
I
in
got a little
charge.
context.
Yeah, please go ahead, brother.
Little context here. So I went into my, went to go, see the tiers. They still haven't
Right.
changed it on your actually billing. So it still shows $19.99. So they're not even like this messaging, the optics, the way they did it, just everything involved, raising the console price, all these things. I don't know who's making these decisions, but it's just, it really, like 2013 is just like coming up my head every time
Yes.
now.
Yep.
And it's just unbelievable. I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm just having a debate in my head. Like, am I just going to cancel for now? Cause they need to see that this is just wrong.
Yeah. I mean, look, gentlemen, I appreciate you both being here. I'm going to hang around a little bit after because I got to catch up. We have 22 super chats and channel member chats I got to get to. If you guys want to hang out, by all means, hang out. If you guys got to bounce, don't worry. I'll stay here. I promise I would read it. I want to answer everyone's question. We're already an hour and 21 minutes. This was meant to be only 45 minutes, kind of a bit of a rant, if you will. But as we kept going, more people kept joining. And listen, I am. The one thing I will not do for today's podcast is apologize to Xbox or Microsoft because I handle this like a proper gentleman. And more importantly, first and foremost, as a paying customer. I am a consumer. And I do not think the value of $30 a month of what they added to it is worth it. I think we were already getting day and day games. That's $20. You got my $20. By you adding Fortnite, that doesn't mean anything to me. I don't play Fortnite. So that the same thing for some of the other stuff that's on PC base. I don't care. I don't play any of those MOBAs. I've never even loaded one of them up. So you're giving these benefits. Why don't you just take them away? How many people are using them? That's what I say. But gentlemen, appreciate you being here, Crispy Bomb. Cork, if you guys want to hang out, by all means, please hang out. But I do want to catch up on the super chats here. And we'll start first with KO Walker. Now, KO and I talk pretty much every day. Drops a very generous $5 super chat. KO goes on to say, Xbox added over $20 in subservice to Ultimate, and people are mad that they have to pay $8 more for it. Yeah, I mean, listen, I hear what you're saying, KO, and I mean, again, everyone's value proposition is going to be different. I'm hanging on for right now because I'm literally paid up for the next 3 years, so I'm not racing to cancel my subscription because I'm paid up for the next 3 years. Here's the problem: what's worrisome about what Xbox did today is they just dropped on us out of the blue with no, warning whatsoever. We are raising your price not by $2, not by $4, by 50%. By 50%, by $10. Oh, and by the way, we're giving you Fortnite. And we're going to get you through the velvet rope a little quicker with the 1440p cloud service. That's bad. That's a bad messaging right there. So you're saying that the other, again, I just go right back to it. So the $10 tier is considered what class of gamer? And then the middle tier is the middle class. So you're saying that the top tier is the elite? Is that the rich crowd? Because now we get to the velvet rope through quicker. Like, just, I mean, again, I'm being facetious, but look how that sounds. That's real ugly. Oh, and they literally say it there. Oh, you'll get, faster speeds if you go up. That's, man, who marketed that? Who wrote that up and said, yeah, let's go bring that to print. That's going to get us some extra subs. They're going to lose millions of subs over this, folks. And I got a couple of people here that I want to read their super chats that are telling you, vote with your wallet. Folks, that's what I'm going to tell you. Vote with your wallet. If it's not worth it for you, then just don't just cancel your subscription. 9 Lives 210, been a channel member for 6 months, says, I blame Tim Dog. Just kidding. Yeah, I mean, good old Tim Dog, I'm sure, is going to have a conniption with this one. If you follow him, go look in. If you want to hear some antics, I mean, Tim is going to be Tim. We have a new channel member, Highlander Grim. Hey, brother, thank you so much for joining the channel. It's very kind of you. Super appreciate that. We have Nightwolf 3186 says this after dropping a very generous $5 super chat. We need to speak with our wallets. This is where I draw the line, and I will be unsubbing sadly today. And I hope that my Xbox brethren follow suit. I mean, look, it's just people are going to vote with their wallets, folks. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. And I don't. Again, next year is going to have a lot of first-party games. We know at least 6 of them. You got the 3 bigs. You got Fable. You got Call of Duty. So there's your 5. You could get Clockwork, right? That's probably one for next year as well. So that's your 6. In order for the $360 per year for the service, you would have to buy more than 5 games. So if you're going to play all those games, then maybe it's worth it to you because you're going to get all the other back-end games, second party, indie, third party, maybe some additional Xbox games, smaller ones in there. And so if you're going to play all those games, then maybe the $360 a year is for you. But if you're someone that's not going to play the next Call of Duty, or you don't care about Fable, or you don't care about Halo, or you don't care about Gears, probably everyone's going to play Forza because it's going to be in Japan. Maybe the 3 games that you were going to play are not worth the subscription service. Again, that's entirely up to you, folks. Kingfish737 drop, who's been a channel member for 44 months, brother. That is very kind of you. Thank you so much for this for the generosity. He says, "Morning, Boom and Crispy," and of course, Porkenstein. I find it interesting that prices are going up close to the holidays. Hashtag gaming is for everyone, or at least it's supposed to be. Yeah, the consoles went up. The handhelds are $1,000 and $600 respectively. I mean, it's again, ultimately, I think the best way I can just look at this, if I'm going to simplify today's nearly 90-minute rant from all of us, and the chat included, is hashtag really bad optics. That is about all I can say. Crispy, I know you're going to be listening, brother. I'll give you a call a little bit later. Thanks so much for joining. But let me continue with the super chats here. We also have Nightwolf 3186 dropping an additional very generous $5 super chat. He goes on to say, "Are they giving us the whole Activision, Call of Duty, Blizzard library in Game Pass with this price hike that we've been all demanding?" See, I said that before. I know that I'm a little late to the party because these are older super chats, but yeah, I said that. Like, if you come down with, hey man, if you are an Xbox 360 collector like I am, and you have all of your Guitar Hero and Rock Band games, and you have Transformers, and you have Prototype, and you have the Ultimate Alliance games, guess what? They're all in your library. Go play. Go enjoy yourself. But that's not the case. We're still waiting on them. They're dripping and drabbing, right? Like, there's a story that Umber and I are going to talk about tomorrow regarding Prototype and the fact that it's being remade like Oblivion. We're going to get into that tomorrow. We have DJ Birdo DOS. Welcome back, brother. Great to see you here. And thank you for the very generous $5 super chat. He says, "Yep, F that. I'm out. Who even asked for Ubisoft Classics? Fort Crap Crew," which, again, no one likes and no one cares. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. Time to start looking into PC for real, for real. I think you're going to see people move over. I think I don't know if there's going to is there even like a PC only tier still? Like, I know that there was one and it was like $12, and if it's no longer available, that's it. I have to look into that. I'm going to forward that conversation to later tonight, because if you are a PC guy or gal and that's all you play is PC, you were paying $12 a month for Game Pass, and you were getting day and date. It's going to be.
I think PC is being swallowed. I think everything's getting PC. So even the basic one, I think, gets PC access and all of that stuff.
Okay.
So I think that tier is going away. So if you could get grandfathered into it, that might be something to look at right now. If the site's back up. But yeah, I think all of them are getting PC access, and that tier is just being taken away.
Yeah, but see, again, they were paying $12 for day and date, and they don't pay for online. So now what it seems, and again, folks, I'm gonna have to do some background investigation on this. If you were paying $12 for Ultimate, you are now going to be paying $30 for Ultimate. That's an $18 increase. So I don't know how that's going to go over well with the PC crowd, because they don't pay for online, which is why Game Pass was cheaper, right? They were paying $11.99 for Ultimate, which that's why you saw a lot of people convert from console to PC. That was one of the major reasons. Now, again, I'm just spitballing here, folks. I have to go and do the actual research to find out if that in fact is the case. But ultimately, no pun intended, you're going to have people that were paying 12 and only play on PC and now being roped into the $30 range. That's going to be ultimately a really big problem, I think. Roshan Impenger dropped a very generous $10 super chat. He goes on to say, people won't like this, but this is thanks to Sarah Bond. Priority service, just like T-Mobile does with unlimited. You're unlimited, but those that pay more have priority. They are killing Game Pass for PC. He's asking the question, are they killing Game Pass for PC? I'll have that answered this evening when we go live at 7 p.m. The broke boy Lewis drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, this Xbox wants to move people to PC seems real. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what that ultimately is. Oscar Wheat drops a very generous $2 super chat. He says, did the people who bought EA responsible? I don't know. That's a really good question, Oscar. I don't have the answer for that. I will look into that as well. That's a very interesting thought, considering that they were just bought for $55 billion. Maybe that's a part of it. Maybe I don't know. That's very interesting. We also have the broke boy says, where's Mr. Boomstick clip channels at for this one? Yeah, you know what? I saw one of my favorite YouTubers have a clips channel, Den of Nerds. But the Den of Nerds is widely popular, and he has people that actually do the work for him for his clips channel. Josh doesn't do them himself. I've had people ask, but you got to pay for that. We're just a two-person show here. It's just me and Mrs. Boom. She handles the business aspect of it, and I handle all the entertainment part of it. I can't afford to actually have someone do a clips channel, and I already make videos, which I have a lot to make. I'm still behind like 3 of them, to be honest with you. So yeah, maybe one day if we get a team of people to work for us, but we're still going to do it the mom and pop way. Appreciate the thought, though. That's actually a really good idea. We have Joe Dunmore. Joe, great to see you here, brother. Thank you so much for the generosity. He says, hopefully that price increase comes with Vaseline after dropping a very generous $2 super chat. I don't think it did, folks. I think people are just super, super sore right now. Pause. Eris _EMS, as he's done so many times before, he has gifted, ladies and gentlemen, 5 double barrel gaming memberships. That's very kind of you, brother. I super appreciate it. Thank you so much for the consistent support and unbelievable generosity. Rain G4 drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, Master Chief told us missions change. They always do. Yeah, brother, you're not wrong. You are not wrong. The broke boy drops an additional very generous $5 super chat and says the ESPN Unlimited sub is $30 a month. I watch a hell of a lot more sports than play games. I'm paid up until February 2027. At that time, probably will cancel. I know a lot of people they're gonna look, folks. I don't know if people. First of all, let's just say this: does anyone give a flying shit what Mr. Boomstick says at Xbox? They probably don't. I'm so small on the totem pole compared to some of the bigger YouTubers, but I have a strong belief that you're going to see a majority of people with a lot louder voices than I currently have speak up. And look, the media has been waiting for this bone to drop, and they're going to be on it, and they're going to be gnawing at it. And I think Xbox ultimately has invited every toxic MF that has a distaste for their brand to come out of the woodworks and come for them. And where most of the time as a corporation you don't care, like, yeah, whatever, let those people bark. This is going to invoke a lot of emotion with the people that have been hanging around for a super long time, like me. And when you got people like me coming out here and blowing smoke for the last hour and 95 minutes, and it's righteous smoke, it's not good. When you hurt the loyal fans that have stood by the brand even at its worst, that is where corporate greed is blinded, and they don't see this. And I just think that this is just super ugly. It's a really bad time. And I think that unless they reverse engines on this, you're going to see the sub count drop by millions, as it should, as it absolutely should. Sorry, I'm not going to apologize for that. I'm a consumer, and I'm one of you folks. I'm not an elitist by any stretch of the truth. Never have been and never will be. Whole Grain Bread, who's been a channel member for 11 months, says, this puts me in a spot. I share Game Pass U with my son, but it's getting too expensive, especially with other sub services we have. It's getting crazy. Brother, you're not wrong. I mean, where is the family plan that could have been something that stepped in and, you know, might have been a $30 tier, but you can have up to 5 people or even 3 people. You know, you're 3 people, yourself and 2 other people on this package. It's $30 and you get the benefits for 3 people, including yourself. There's ways you could have did this, man. I'm sorry. It's just ugly. Rain G4 drops a very generous $2 super chat and says they need a buy the balls tier. Yes, they do. So we have Fuzzy Belvedere. So Fuzzy, I'm going to get your hot take on this in a moment. Let me just continue reading the super chats, and then we'll get your folks. This is going to go on for a minute. So again, Cork, if you got to go, brother, if you're tired, you can please hang out. We love you having you here, brother. We want to get some more thoughts from you, but if you got to bounce, don't feel obligated. I'm happy that you came in here. I appreciate your honest thoughts, and I'm glad that it actually works out for you. And I've tried, again, you know, these are people that we work with on a regular basis. Their opinions may vary, but we're all humans here. So let's not get insulting. Okay. I got to defend Cork on this. It's his opinion. I don't agree with it, but that's okay. That is absolutely okay. That's my brother right there, folks. So, be kind.
100%. I still love you, Boom. But yeah, I just had to do some consulting for a developer, and then I finished early, so I was like, I'll jump on Boom. I love Boom. So yeah, I'm gonna head out.
We love you just as much, brother. We absolutely do.
All right, take it easy, guys.
All right, brother. We'll see you. We'll see you soon. So hang out, Fuzzy Belvedere. We'll get you in here momentarily. Crazy G14. Hey, brother. Great to see you here. I know that you're in the chat. You normally don't make a message, but he's been a channel member, folks, for 26 months. Bro, that is very generous of you, Crazy G14. And I super appreciate the generosity. He says, this has Satya's sticky fingers all over it. Yeah, it does. It just, man, those money people, man, they just gum things up. Just hate this whole situation. Ray Chi in the chat has been a channel member for 1 month. Brother, that's very kind of you for being a member of the channel. Mrs. Boom and I do greatly appreciate it, Ray. He says it would work, but since the Xbox Gold situation, the Xbox community lost its backbone and it's filled with toxic positivity. I mean, look, up until today, there is no arguing that the best service in gaming for the price that we were paying was the best in the business. You are getting ridiculous value at $20. Depending on the gamer and how you play, I don't know if the value is still there at 30. And I don't personally think by throwing in a $12, Fortnite thing that I am not going to use is worth it for the people. And I think one of the most egregious parts of the messaging is the cloud gaming. If you can only afford the $10, just look at the wording, ladies and gentlemen. It's gross. Oh, you'll get some speeds, but you pay the $30, you're right through the velvet rope. Do you know how ugly that looks? I mean, like, honestly, go read it, folks. I read it live on the air. How ridiculous does that sound? Somebody is getting 6 figures a year to write that shit up. And they were like, yeah, go to print. This is good. It literally classifies the gamer based on what they can afford. Like, that is freaking ugly, man. I'm sorry. It just is. I can afford it. Do I want to pay $30? I do not. And ultimately, when does it stop is the real question. Because it's 30 today on October 1st. What is it going to be next October, right before Modern Warfare 4 comes out next year? And they released Gears, Halo, and Forza into the service. Is it going to be $40? I don't know. These are the questions that we have to push and press Phil, Sarah, and Matt to answer. Get Greeny involved. Let's get Greeny on the horn. Let's get his thoughts on it. Because I love these people. I've met all of them. They're beautiful humans. But I'm not going to defend this, folks. I'm just not. Coachman has become a new member. Wow, that's very kind of you, brother. Thank you so much. Coachman 2236 has become a new channel member. That's very kind of you. We also have King One Supreme dropping a very generous $5 super chat. King goes on to say, you used to be able to get your 1-year ultimate on CD keys for under $100. That is correct. That was a few years ago. Hell, Game Pass Ultimate would be $50 on Black Friday a few years ago. You're not wrong. And like I said, the pricing right now, and again, it could not have happened at a better time. At right before I went into the gym, I was in the truck, I parked, I was looking up Game Pass because my 3 months, I have a 3 months block, $54.94. I'm like, Jesus, that's a lot, right? But okay, you know what? It's better than 60. I like keeping up. I like keeping the 3 years like locked in, right? Because you never know what's going to happen. And then 2 hours later, it's $67.99 based on the new pricing. And granted, 67 or $68 better than 90. Yes. But if you buy a year of that, nobody got that money, man. Nobody has that money to spend in 2025. The Broke Boy drops an additional very generous $2 super chat. He says, when will Xbox stop home Xbox options so no sharing? Dude, that's a really good question. I have questions I need answers to, so I'm gonna do some work on the back end before tonight's show. We have Gamer by Choice says this after dropping a very generous $2 super chat. He says, I'm paid up until 2028 also, but this is bad optics. Indeed, it absolutely is. Eris_EMS has been was generous enough to gift 5 Double Barrel Gaming memberships today. He's been a channel member himself for 19 months. And he says, try to find discounts if you can, but no way am I paying $30 a month for Ultimate. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people in that boat, brother. The Broke Boy drops an additional very generous $2 super chat and says, there is still is PC only Game Pass, and it's listing at $16.50. Yeah, I'm gonna look into that and see whether or not how long that's gonna last, because there's gonna be PC people and be like, hey, I'm not paying $30, and they're gonna be out. I'll go to Steam, and that's all. Again, they're gonna lose millions on this. Omega Ren, I almost said Omega Red because I'm thinking of a Wolverine. Omega Ren in the chat drops a very generous $5 super chat. So thank you, Omega, for being here, brother, and thank you for the generosity. He says, hey, Boom, this hike is nasty work. Just dropped my sub service, not because I can't afford it, but the greed is outrageous. Again, folks, it's gross, man. Fuzzy, let's get your hot take on this. Again, I don't want to apologize for the show going on, because I think a lot of people want to get this off their chest and talk about it. And I'm retired, so this is what I do for a living. Let's get your thoughts, brother.
Well, they couldn't have picked the worst time to even pull this kind of stunt, just for the fact that the handheld is coming out. The PC Game Pass subscription should have been front and center and let people get into the ecosystem with that new device out on the market, as well as them rolling out the software to other PC handhelds, whether it's the existing ROG Allies out there or Legion Goes, what have you. Now would have been not the time to do this kind of thing. But, companies going to make profit any way they see fit. And this is going to probably bite them more than it helps them. So we'll see how the strategic, timing of this works out for them. I don't think it's going to work out in their favor. I do think they lose or hemorrhage a good bit of subscribers, but not to gloat. I do want to come on here to say I am, stacked up until 2028. And I know people have heard me say this before in this podcast and many others. Use your Microsoft Rewards points. Now, here's the drawback. You can no longer use your Microsoft Rewards points towards Game Pass directly. You can only use it towards Xbox gift cards, which the timing of that seems a little suspect as well. But all in all, as I've said many a times, try your best to stack up the points, primarily because the way they have it structured now, you can earn more rewards points while playing games, while being subscribed to Game Pass. But with it being a result of only being able to put it towards gift cards, I think they're going to see people walking away. Like one of the things I've recently done because of them putting this pause on their Bing search is I've switched everything back to Google. The only reason why I was using Bing was for the rewards points. And if the rewards points can't be used towards Game Pass, or they're going to pause or slow me down as far as obtaining points for it, then I don't need Bing in my life. Like it was always a second fiddle to Google. So if you're going to, make it harder for me to earn points, then you're gone. You're uninstalled from all my phones, no longer using Edge browser at that point. I can go back to Chrome and be fine with just getting accurate searches without having to worry about, well, I'm getting points, so it's kind of acceptable kind of thing. But yeah, I really wish I could sit in on some of these meetings or be a fly on the wall. Not that my 2 cents would amount to anything, but there should have been a better rollout to prepare people. Like if anything, keep Ultimate the way it was, because you want to force more people into that eco or that part of the Game Pass structure or that Game Pass tier. They should have slowly rolled out or expired core and then raised the price on that. And yeah, people would be looking at, well, why is Essential the same price as Ultimate currently? Well, you're getting so much more with Ultimate. You would have a spike of people buying cards for Game Pass Ultimate. So when you do finally announce that the price is doubling kind of thing, people will already be like, well, I bought enough cards for a year, so I'm good. And you wouldn't have this mass exodus or this mass hemorrhage of people unsubscribing. So there could have been better ways that they handled this. But, maybe it was a quarterly thing and they just wanted to make the books aligned, especially considering that, they, what was it? Sarah just made the announcement that they made like $5 billion. So
$5 billion in their last quarterly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that it is profitable, but now, there's some money people above Sarah that are like, well, let's make it more profitable. If you were able to do 5 billion, well, if you double the price, will you make 10 billion? And I think that's what some of the thoughts must have been as far as this idea to raise pricing at this point. But in all honesty, we talked about Xbox stepping on rakes. I get it. They're a $1 trillion business. Who am I to say that they aren't, able to do what they want as far as their revenue? But it does feel like this is another rake moment with the price increase of the consoles. Yes, there was some behind the scenes stuff talked about as far as the Xbox Ally pricing being a little bit cheaper, and that wasn't able to happen because of whether it be greed, tariffs, or combinations of all the above. This just goes to show that it's it appears, at least on the surface, more so greed. I'm pretty sure they'll say, well, the macroeconomics aren't working out to keep the prices where they were. But in all honesty, I think if you get more people in your ecosystem and get them comfortable and accustomed to all of the features that they have, you can gradually raise prices as opposed to this abrupt, oh, it's 50% higher or it's almost double the price kind of thing in some cases. I think that's going to bite them more than, them not making as much of a profit. Like if their percentages went from being 8% they were making this past quarter, and it only, winds up being a 6%. So it's a 2% drop, but you're still making a profit. I think that approach would have probably been the better approach. But once again, I don't run a $1 trillion company. The most I've been on is a $500 million company. And I wasn't even the one in the CEO seat. I was more so the marketing and web guy. So all of that aside, take it for what you will. But yeah, ill timing, ill optics, and just all around not the smartest move when you're trying to release partnered software or partnered hardware and roll out more of your software. Like if anything, this probably takes them 10 steps back as far as their counter to Steam, because remember, Steam OS can be put on those same handhelds.
Yes.
And for all intents and purposes, it is, with the exception of a few online games, like I think Apex Legends and maybe a couple others like Destiny or something. But I think they got that worked around as far as Proton and stuff for Destiny. Steam is a better OS as far as more user-friendly, even though it can scale to, whatever level you want. Like if you're a tinkerer and proficient in modding stuff on PC, then Steam works out great. If you're new to all of this PC handheld stuff, Steam can kind of hold your hand for the most part, and a lot of stuff is, user-friendly, easy. I think the Game Pass through the browser is about the most difficult, but even Xbox made a step-by-step. Now, if they want to try to counter how much Steam is growing, this is not the thing to do. Like rolling out the Xbox OS for the handhelds for free, oh, that's awesome. But when they look at what the subscription prices are now, as opposed to what it was for a PC handheld or PC Game Pass when it was like $5 cheaper or so, this isn't the time. Like you want to make inroads into that market, you're going to have to kind of eat some of the percentages that you're looking to make. So terrible timing. I'm fortunate enough to be stacked. I encourage everybody, if you can find a card on the shelf now for Game Pass Ultimate, stack as much as you can. So that way you don't have to worry about future price increases or other changes down the road. But I just wanted to at least get that off my chest, that this is another rake step moment, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I know you were out doing some other things. I compared this to the 2013 incident with Donnie D telling you that if you didn't want to play online, we got a console for you. It's called the Xbox 360. I think this is as bad as that. I really do, because again, it's not just the money. If they would have went up, $4.99, like $5, I think that we would still give them some smoke. But $5 versus 10, you're talking about going up from 50% to 25%. You could probably wrap your head around it. You wouldn't be happy about having to pay more, but at least it'd be, raised to a point where it's slightly more than what you would get with Netflix or Disney Plus or Hulu or Peacock or any of the services, where they usually go up in increments of $2, sometimes $3, right? This went up 10.
Yeah.
Right. So you're 5 timesing that. And then if it would have been $5, then okay, you know what? We're not happy. This kind of sucks. All right. So you got the Fortnite thing in there. And that's the thing. I think people keep getting this confused. You're not getting Ubisoft Plus that I pay $20 a month for. You're getting Plus Classics.
Yeah.
And the Classics
isn't that what's already in PS Plus Premium or something?
Yes. They get the Classics.
It's completely lost in the conversation that you get the Ubisoft Classics, because it's not.
Nobody
It's a
cares.
value, but it's not a big value. Like Ubisoft Premium or Plus, the full fledged one, that at this price, I think I would be more accepting because the increase is less than what it costs for me to get Plus in general. So
Yes.
that would have made more sense. But
I would have championed that. Like, okay, so instead of paying $20 a month, which I pay for Ubisoft Plus right now,
mhm.
I would ultimately be paying $10 more, but I would be saving $10. So it's a W for Craig. It's a W for
Right.
me, right? Because again, I'm saving $10 and it went up $10. And even then I would still have smoke.
Right.
But it would be, at least you'd be able to wrap your mind around it. Ubisoft Plus, day and date games, everything, all the DLC included. Awesome. Let's go.
Yeah.
And again, I want to end the show because I got some stuff to do, folks. I'm going to come back around, but for me, go read the wording of the cloud. It's egregious.
Yeah.
Because for the $30, you get Red Velvet Rope Passage. Come on in, $30 rich man. You're good. $10, slower speeds. Big Jim is like this. He's stopping you, and you're not even near the Velvet Rope. You haven't even gotten onto the block where the club is. You're hanging out around the corner.
Mhm.
Middle tier. All right, we'll kind of let you inch up a little bit. We'll bring you onto at least the block, but you ain't coming in for a minute. Get ready. Slower speeds, unless you got $30. Again, terrible optics, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
And again, I'm at Xbox Game Pass socials. 2 words: more games or more rewards. Bad optics, man. I'm not going to read any of the comments. I can only imagine they're egregious. But there's 1.1K responses. That's probably not really good. Look, at the end of the day, I'm paid up for the next 36 months. But my concern is not today. My concern is what happens when next year's October 1st happens, and you have already Fable, and you got Call of Duty around the corner, the Modern Warfare coming out. You got, all these games that have come out. Was expected to be a big year for them, for everybody who wants to be part of Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
Is it $40? Is it $50? When does it stop? When do they stop the count? I don't know, folks, but we're gonna be covering this, and I've already said my piece, so I'm not gonna rant on this evening. I do want to get we have a video game topic to get into, of course, but we're gonna get into tonight on Primetime Gaming. We are going to get what Hargeet has to say, and we're also going to get what Asante has to say. Tune in 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But Brother Belvedere, brother, thanks so much for joining us. It's Shocktober officially. You and the missus are going to be doing a lot of really great work over on her channel, Fright Night with Ferocious V. Please sell the brand. Where can people tune in to that show Friday evening, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time? And more importantly, where can they follow you guys on socials?
Well, as always, love doing this. Talking the gaming industry with you, Boom, and shout out to Cork and Crispy. I saw on here earlier, and to everybody in the chat. Sorry for it being a bad news day.
Yeah,
still,
it is what it is.
Play as many games as you can. Enjoy your time gaming. This is a hobby we all love, even if some of these corporations try to make it seem make it a down day for the most part. But play the games you already have or have access to and push on. But other than that, for everybody who want to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related, just follow me on social media. Do a search for Fuzzy Belvedere. You'll be able to find me. I also put the link in the chat for my wife's YouTube channel for Fright Night with Ferocious V. Got a lot of stuff coming up this month. We have Astro Paranormal, an event about midpoint this month for a theater in Delaware that's haunted, and we'll be going into great length detail about that here shortly. But check out the channel if you're a fan of horror, whether it's games, movies, everything in between. Definitely check out that channel, and as always, greatly appreciate all the support.
Well, appreciate you jumping in, giving your hot take, folks. Thank you so much. 1,100 people in the chat. That's amazing. We did a poll, biggest poll we've done so far on Double Barrel Gaming. We don't do a lot of the polls because sometimes I forget because I'm an old man, but a big thank you for everyone that did vote. 72% said they were unsubbing versus 26%, or 74% said that they were unsubbing. 26% said that it still has value for them. That's a pretty big difference. And I really do think that in the coming days, they are going to see a substantial amount of cancellations. And I don't know whether they care enough to stop the bleeding. Maybe we do see a reverse engine situation like they did with Xbox Live Gold a couple of years ago, where they kind of stepped in it really bad and it was a mess. This is worse, folks. This is a lot worse because the value that they're proposing, at least for me, is not worth the increase of $10. I don't care what price tag they add to it. Oh, Ubisoft costs this much, and Team Fortnite costs this much. I don't give a shit. I pay for Ubisoft Plus. I get everything for free anyway. They already got my $20, and Fortnite, they can give me 50,000 V-Bucks. I could care less. Wouldn't mean anything for me. But folks, again tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the new episode of Primetime Gaming goes live. It's probably going to run about 75-ish minutes because, again, I think this is such a hot topic. We may actually have some additional, people that want to pop on and give their, drop their bars. It's going to be so far me, Keasante, and Hargeet will get their thoughts. I'm not going to say much on it other than present some additional, information that I might have. And maybe we'll be reporting that Xbox has reversed engines. We'll see. It's unlikely because they're greedy, it's a greedy corporation, but it's just disappointing. Ultimately, it's just disappointing, especially when you consider how ugly these optics are. But thank you for tuning in. If you found the channel, you appreciated the honesty, even though I'm an Xbox guy, and you're not already subscribed, please consider subscribing. We're on the hunt, folks, for 17K. And we'll get there. Not this year, I don't think, anyway, unless we have a run on subs. But consider subscribing. Share this out in the socials. And we'll see you back tonight at 7 p.m. on Primetime Gaming. And for Corkenstein, for Crispy Bomb, for Fuzzy Belvedere, and myself, I want to wish everybody a great day. Enjoy gaming on whatever console you enjoy gaming on. And, of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me. Hopefully one day, ladies and gentlemen, it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next time on the new episode of Breaking News with Boom.